The uterus is the organ that contains, protects, and helps to nourish the offspring as it's still developing inside the mother's body. The top part of the uterus is called the fundus, and then we have the body, and the bottom of the uterus is called the cervix. The cervix has an opening called the cervical canal that lets the sperm come in and lets the menstrual blood get out. And there are also a number of cervical glands here around the cervical canal. These cervical glands secrete a mucus that changes depending on the stage of a woman's cycle. When a woman is less fertile, then the mucus that's produced by these cervical glands is very sticky and blocks the opening, and that helps to prevent pathogens from being able to enter the uterus. As a woman reaches a more fertile time in her menstrual cycle, then it's important that sperm be able to get through that area. So the mucus changes and becomes very slippery, so it's much thinner and easier for the sperm to swim through the cervical canal. The uterine wall itself has 3 layers. The outermost layer is called the perimetrium. This is a layer of simple squamous epithelium, a serosa layer, that allows the uterus to move without friction. The middle layer is the myometrium. The myometrium is a muscle layer, many layers of smooth muscle. This muscle layer is really important for producing the labor contractions needed to push a baby out when it's time to be born. The innermost layer of the uterus is called the endometrium. The endometrium is a mucosa layer, and it has 2 parts. The stratum functionalis is the lining of the uterus, the innermost layer, and the stratum functionalis is broken down and lost with each menstrual cycle. Every time a woman menstruates, that's the stratum functionalis of the lining of the uterus breaking down and being lost through the cervical canal. The deeper part of the endometrium is called the stratum basalis, and the stratum basalis has to stay in place in order to divide to produce a new stratum functionalis every month. So the stratum basalis remains, divides by mitosis to build up new cells to make a stratum functionalis, which will prepare for pregnancy, and then if pregnancy isn't achieved, that stratum functionalis will be broken down and shed as the menstrual blood. The vagina is the passageway that allows the penis to enter the reproductive system to release the sperm and lets the menstrual fluid out, or lets the baby out if you achieve pregnancy. The vaginal wall has 3 layers. The outermost layer is a layer of adventitia connecting the vagina to the surrounding tissues. The middle layer is a muscularis layer that allows it to be stretchy, and the innermost layer is a layer of mucosa. This mucosa layer produces a lot of fluid that helps to moisten the vagina and helps provide lubrication as well. The external genitalia of the female reproductive system is called the vulva. The vulva includes the labia majora and minorita. Those are the flaps of tissue that help to enclose the vaginal and urinary opening. And the area enclosed by the labia is called the vestibule. It contains the urinary opening and the vaginal opening and the clitoris. The vulva also contains the vestibular bulbs. The clitoris and the vestibular bulbs are erectile tissue, same as we saw in the penis, a spongy tissue with lacunae, blood spaces that can fill up and swell during arousal in order to heighten stimulation. In this photograph of a vulva, you can see the mons pubis, or the fat pad, here over the pubic symphysis. It's difficult to see the labia majora because when a woman's legs are spread, the labia majora flatten out. But we can see the labia minora enclosing the vestibule, and we can see the clitoris, the urinary opening, and the vaginal opening. The breasts are important for providing milk to a baby once it's born, so the woman's reproductive system continues to support the offspring even after birth. In a woman who is not lactating, if she hasn't had a baby or isn't pregnant, then there's almost no actual glandular tissue. Instead, the breasts are filled with fat, and there's a little bit of a rudimentary duct system that would carry milk if the woman was lactating. During a pregnancy, the hormones released as part of the pregnancy stimulate the development of the actual mammary gland tissue, of the glandular tissue that will produce the milk, and then this milk flows into the lactiferous sinuses and through the ducts that open through the nipple.